Hey, you're probably gonna be able to do that sound a lot better than me. Yo, what's up, brother?
What's good? It's been a minute. My bad. I've been traveling like a
Yo,
savage, and so I haven't been able to be here. But excited to be back with you.
yeah, for sure.
And
Hey, listen, you've been traveling and you've been doing good work, and so
I'm I've been trying.
yeah,
I've been trying.
as long as it's on the side of doing good work, bro.
That's
You
right.
gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah,
Man,
and
I was
so
telling you before we started. I love everything about your sweater right now. I'm just telling
hey,
you.
hey, folks in the audience, my sweatshirt. If you can't hear it, if you can't see it, it says it's in the syllabus. I got this from one of my fraternity brothers, Jack, down at where's Jack? Down at Winston-Salem State. He's he's a tenured professor, not a assistant,
Ooh.
not a associate. Oh no,
Ooh.
he's tenured. He is a professor.
He is a
So
full professor, not a
full
lecturer.
professor, yeah, for sure. And
That's
we
dope.
can talk about lecturers because I think that they're getting cheap labor out of lecturers, but
Ooh,
that's
yes.
that's
Ooh,
neither here nor
yes.
there. For you to have to teach a 4-4 course load, meaning you're teaching 4 classes in the fall, 4 classes in the spring. I think that's a lot happening.
Yeah. You're not a lecturer, you're staff.
You're definitely, yeah, for sure,
You're staff.
yeah. What up, G?
Oh, gee. What's going
It's,
on? Look at him. Look at him.
yeah, for sure. Hey, that energy, I'm ready for the night. Nobody can tell me nothing. But but real quick, right? Just so we can get it off our chest, so we can get that bad juju off of us. Folks,
Oh,
if you're a Knicks fan, watch the game where you usually watch the game, man. So, yo, watch the game where you usually watch the game. Y'all start trying new shit. Y'all want to try new bars and stuff like that. Yo, that's not good karma for us, man. We don't work like that in New York. Watch the game where you watch the game.
Yo, that is not funny. We don't want anybody getting it twisted right now. No bad juju. Yeah.
For
Yo,
sure.
and if you're not watching the game and they're winning, stay the hell off TV. Just don't watch
I'm
it.
excited,
Stay
dog.
out,
It's gonna,
stay out the room.
Hey, we got to turn it around.
We don't need you there. Yeah. Hey, listen. Hey, G. We was texting and we were talking about MSG. They putting out tickets for the finals. Man, y'all got to win a game. You can't be.
I know.
You can't be out here getting people to put thousands of dollars on the Amex and
they wildin'.
Yeah, for sure.
They wildin'. They wildin'. That's been bad juju. That's bad juju.
It's
don't sell tickets yet. Yeah.
I can't think that far ahead, man. I can't think that far ahead.
I was gonna go with some Knicks stuff, but no, I went with this G. It's in the syllabus.
It's in the syllabus.
I like that.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
So we got a big show. We haven't seen each other in so long. So, the formalities and the love, that's here. But we got to get out of business, man. So today we're talking about unpacking Trump's big, beautiful bill. So I saw to set it up, I saw the clip, right? I think it was he was addressing Congress or whatever, right? And so as he's addressing Congress, he's like, yeah, and the name for the bill is a big, beautiful bill. And I'm just like, wait, what? Yeah, and so they name it a big, beautiful bill, and it's like, yo, I'm looking at like all of the names of bills and the history of naming bills, and I found nothing.
It's not even that. It's because they have to name everything an act, so it's the Big Beautiful Bill Act, and I'm like, what are we doing here? We're really forcing it. We're really forcing it right now.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull us through. I'm gonna pull us through this.
Canceling all the conventions.
Yeah, I know this is not a popular topic for us to talk about, and so, but I'm gonna pull us through this because it's content that the people need, especially people that are not informed, people that don't necessarily read these kinds of things and whatnot. They come to the podcast in order to, we want to make sure that we have one of those value add podcasts, not just some shit that's talking about Diddy or whatever. And so,
But we could talk.
Definitely cannot talk about that. I disavow.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Where's my disclaimer?
Yeah. So yeah. I already put it up in the water. So G, starting with you, man, because I know you were like the last one to kind of dig in this one now, so you got probably the freshest memory. What were some of your takeaways from seeing this bill? Is he freezing up?
He froze with the cheesiest smile too.
Yeah. So, G, you good? Something's happening, man. You got.
Yeah, I think so.
All right,
yeah. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Let me drop out. Let me drop out and come back.
Oh, good. Okay.
We'll get started.
Yeah. So for me, it was Medicaid, man. I got a I don't want to call her name because my mom will kill me. But I got an Asian, I got an Asian mother, right? Who thank God she is a vet, right? So thank God she's covered under like a veteran status, and I didn't see anything in the bill that's coming after veterans, so the full status veterans. Yeah. But I have uncles that are aging as well that depend on Medicaid, right? Yeah. And so knowing that 13 million people can potentially lose their access to Medicaid. It's kind of like, it's one of those situations that I've always said, it's like America does not care about the young and they do not care about the aging, right? And so, like, what were your immediate thoughts when you saw cuts in Medicare?
Medicaid? For me, it was like, I view a budget, like I view my organizational budget as a statement of values, as what you as an entity value, right? And you are putting that strategy and those values forward in your budget. And when I review sort of the version of the bill that the House passed, what is clear, right, is that what they value is folks with resources, folks with means, folks with money over people who have less. And it is a clear statement of that value. Now, whether or not that reflects the values of the country as a whole is a different question. But it is a clear statement that the House, the majority in the House, very simple majority of the House, believes that type of de-investment in those who are who need the most from our government to those who have the most in life feels like a reversal of priorities and a set of values that don't align with what I think a country should say. I seem to remember somewhere, maybe it's the preamble of the Constitution, it talks about that the government is supposed to, do things like promote the general welfare. And that is not something that's happening with this bill.
No, absolutely not happening with this bill. But and we're usually tough on the New York Congress folks for how they stand. But on a positive note, maybe selfishly or whatever, like I like what they did with the SALT deductions, right? And so a couple of years back, they thought that would be a good idea. Well, New York State, for those that don't know, New York State is one of the largest contributing states to the federal government, right? And so anything that's a surplus in New York State, we usually send it to DC in order to offset some of the states that are not necessarily making or bringing in as much money as New York State, right? And so one of the things that happened in New York State was this thing called the SALT deductions, right? So SALT is state and local tax deductions, right? And so a couple of years back, they capped it at $10,000. And so you could only put in for $10,000 on your federal taxes in order to offset some of the things that were happening. And so that was really, really a killjoy for folks that are on Long Island, because what people don't understand on being on Long Island is one of the most expensive places to live in the United States. And so it really hurt like middle class folks that are on Long Island because they were not able to use these deductions within reason like other states were able to do. And so to see our local congressmen like hold out to a 215, 214 vote in the House, to where they were able to get those local deductions back up to around $40,000 for families that are making $400,000 or less, was a real good win. It felt like a real good win. What were your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I think it's a real good win for us. I don't know where that revenue is going to get replaced, right? So like this is the long-term game here, right? And you just said it, right? Is that these dollars, tax dollars, go to fund the federal government and central functions of the federal government. And so this bill is adding, what are the latest estimates? $4 trillion.
No, $4 trillion is what I heard. Senator Rand Paul estimated it at $4 trillion. So $4 trillion toward. So G's not on right now, but we are both Republicans, right?
Yep.
And so my identification with the party, is fiscal conservativeness.
Not anymore.
Right? And so to think that a Republican majority would then vote for $4 trillion in additional debt, it's kind of like we're sandbagging the future of our kids and our grandkids. Yeah, we're sandbagging them with debt.
No, absolutely. And I think the reality is that what will happen is more draconian cuts in the future to address the increasing deficit. And look, we both know that there isn't a lot of money to be made off the backs of education spending. Like there's not a lot there, right? The money is in quote unquote entitlement programs and defense spending, and no one's going to touch defense spending. And so it's going to come out of entitlements, right? It's going to come out of Social Security. It's going to come out of Medicaid. It's going to come out of Medicare. And so we are kicking the can down the road with these cuts, right? Yeah. So some other Congress to worry about it. And everybody's going to, so like, yes, do I appreciate the SALT deductions personally? Yeah, I like the extra money. I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure.
But on the flip side of that, we are really hamstringing sort of the future of this country by adding that much to the deficit.
100%. G, you're back. Jump in here, man. I know you had some additional some ideas on the initial thoughts for the question.
Yeah, man. I mean, the thing that is always hard about these big bills is that it requires a PhD to really get all the way into all the details and figure out what's going on. But I guess these days you don't need a PhD, you just need GPT. So I threw it in and had to pull out some insights that maybe would have slipped through the cracks, right? And the thing that kind of came up like time and time again, whether it was like healthcare, social safety net stuff, education, student loans, defense, immigration, is that like whenever there was a choice to either support or punish like the most vulnerable people in our country, like this bill represented the choice to punish the most vulnerable people with like red tape, with cuts, like making it hard for people to access basic things. And so to me, that was, I mean, you put your money and like your investment shows your priorities more than anything else. Like you can have rhetoric, you can have all the talking points, but like where you actually say you're going to spend your money actually shows who you are. And like they haven't wavered from that Project 2025 plan based on this budget.
Bro, no. Project 666 is what I saw. I saw that somewhere. I'm like, yo, that's fitting for for what's happening right now, right? But like, we're past the whole like we told you so thing, because we did tell you so. Like we did tell you that voting.
We informed you thusly.
Yeah, we informed you thusly. Yeah, that right? But folks like, but I kind of want to unpack what you just said, G, because you're like, yo, hey, you got to have a PhD in order to kind of read this bill, like, But then you said the GPT of the PhD, right?
He channeled his inner reverend. He was like, you don't have the PhD, you need that GPT. but listen though, for folks that have access to iPhones and access to technology like we've never had before, it's like use your stuff for use your technology for good, right? And so now there's really no excuse for the layperson to not
to not be able to utilize those types of devices in order to get information, right? Like information is ready, and like you can prompt these GPT apps in order to bring it down. Like if you're reading on a 5th grade level, nobody has to know that. Like nobody has to know where you are as an adult, like where you need your information, what level you need your information, but you can chat. You can put into that chat, hey, break this down for me on a 5th grade level, right?
Yep.
And it will break it down to you like so thoroughly to where you can understand it. So like nobody has an excuse these days to not be an informed citizen. Is my point.
Just make sure you're using the right AI from a reputable source, because otherwise, it may.
Yo, why you taking shots at Grook?
No, you're right. You're right.
Don't take shots at Grok, yo.
I'm just saying.
Another positive for me in that bill, right? Because like, you know, we talk all the time about bringing things back to America and the quote unquote make America great thing that they got going here. Was the $10,000 deduction for an American car, right? Like I think that for the interest on if you purchase an American car, I think that's real stand up in terms of like, you know, if you're out searching for a vehicle and whatnot. Like I think that would make me gravitate more towards like an American car than any time before.
Yeah, and then the savings will help you buy another American car in a couple of years once the old one breaks down.
Diabolical. Listen, shout out Ford. We might be able to get some sponsorship from Ford. Shout out Ford. Hey, my Mustang is doing what it needs to do. I don't have no problems. We get updates. You know, that electric thing is doing what it needs to do.
That's interesting though. I mean, because you have the EV, the Mustang EV, right?
Yeah.
I've been looking at that car. I think that's cool. Maybe I'll want to come do a test drive sometime. But you know, I think one of those things like
you got a young kid, right? You got no reason to get yourself a Mustang. Finish what you're doing.
That's not true. There's size in the back. There's capabilities for capabilities for one baby. No, actually, there's capabilities for 2 baby seats. And so that's that's fitting. No. There's a trunk. There's a trunk. It's an SUV. Yeah, Steve, it's an SUV. It's bigger than a CRV. Knock it off.
Okay, my bad.
I mean, I was thinking that the backseat would be pretty cramped, but I was like, their feet can't even touch the floor for like, you know, 6-7 years. So I think it'd be all right.
By the time you do that, it's time to renew the lease, and then
exactly.
By that time, the Expedition will be a electric vehicle.
Yeah. But like, you know,
save him from himself.
We're gonna put together a small donation, a small fundraising contribution to get G some good internet. And
hey, but look at him though, right? Like he looks like he's in like real good thought, right? Like deep thought. It's like, yeah, hey, that's if that right there is not. I went to Yale B school. Yeah.
I went to Brown and Yale. Oh my God! Right now. You know, one thing we haven't talked about in the bill that I think is important is that in the bill, they put a couple of things in that bill that are not related to actual budget and spending, right? And there's some things there around the judiciary, some stuff that they're trying to get through to make it easier for the Trump agenda to move forward. Now, there's a rule, right? I think it's called the Byrd Rule in the Senate that disallows the Senate to vote on a budget bill that has law in it that is not connected to spending, right? And so this is going to be an issue. And I'm wondering, like, this is one of those things where it's a rule, but it's more of a practice than a rule. Like, does the Senate kick out years and years of precedent to vote on a bill that includes legislation that's not connected to an appropriations in that bill. So like that's a real issue. And some of the stuff that they're trying to sneak into that bill is stuff to make it easier for him to, ignore court rulings and things like that. And so it'll be interesting to see the way the Senate picks up their half of this responsibility and whether or not they carve that stuff out immediately or whether it continues to move through.
Okay, well, one thing I can say about that, right, is that I know for sure that this Republican Senate is not going to rubber stamp anything for him, right? Especially when you got Rand Paul, that's like that's going nuts. You got Johnson in Wisconsin. That's like hell no, you are not about to bootstrap us, and I'm not passing this debt on to my grandkids, right? So like you got people that are standing firm that are like no. And so I respect that. And then also, you got people that you can potentially count on in terms of like saving humanity. You got Murkowski in Alaska. She's usually one of them one of those folks or whatever. And then you got who do we have in Maine? What is her name?
Not Susan. What's her last name?
Collins. Susan Collins. Yeah. So Susan Collins usually saves humanity when she can.
When she can. But when they're not afraid of being primaried, right? And I think that's there are reports that he is, as every president does, he is pushing his bill forward, and part of that is phone calls to folks on the Hill to say, do this for me. He's adding probably the or else. So we'll see. We'll see whether
this is the problem. So I was thinking about this, right? And so this is the problem that I have with like career politicians, right? It's like, so you go in and you want to make a career out of this. And so when you get these calls about being primaried and things of that nature, it's like, all of a sudden it's like this is panic because you have already decided that your public service is going to be the rest of your life. This is how you want to make your money. Like, nah, F that, man. Go get a job. Like, go get a job like the rest of us or whatever. Like, come in, do what you need to do for the 6 years that you got or whatever, or the 12 years. But after that, it stops. Like, not going to make no life out of this or whatever. Like, nah. But
that's true in every role. I mean, you and I both know leaders who make decisions because they're afraid of being fired, right?
Yes.
And you have to, I believe as a leader, I should say, what I said was like, look, I'm going to go and I'm going to lead this organization and I'm going to do what I think is right. And if I fail doing what I think is right, at least I failed doing what I thought was right, right? And so, but not everybody enters their work that way.
No,
so
I go to work every day with the intentions of getting fired. Because just like one of these bold initiatives that are gonna center marginalized people, right? Like somebody is going to have a problem with it, and so I go in with the armor of God every day, knowing that the decisions that I make that are going to put marginalized people on Front Street and help benefit them may rub somebody the wrong way, and it may end up in me being terminated. But we got backup plans.
and add to the look. I'll be the first to admit I am not I do not align myself with the part of the Republican Party that is founded in the religious side of that, right? That is not something that I align myself with. But if that is your values, this is also a bill that flies in the face of those values, right? This is a bill that says, like, blessed aren't the meek, right? So they gonna have to do for themselves, right? Like this is antithetical, right?
Yeah,
to that.
But think about this though, Steve. Like in a and shout out to Graham. He was cooking. He sent a text. He said, I was cooking before I left. He was on it.
The hamster on his Wi-Fi got tired.
So. But think about the meek, right? And think about the folks the poor and disenfranchised folks that are the MAGA supporters, right?
Yeah.
These are the folks that are going to get hammered with this bill, but yet they are still steadfast in their belief that this is their God.
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, look, it is wild to me that you can have that type of swing, right? From I'm gonna choose to believe that what they say is in their heart is in their hearts, right? So I'm gonna choose to believe that if they say that this is what they believe, then that's what they believe. then how do you erect such a firewall between what you believe and what you vote for? Right? Like, because I vote my beliefs all the time, right? This is what I believe, this is what I'm going to vote. Like, how do you erect such a large firewall between those two things? To me is wild, because that's apparently what has happened.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you know, I vote. Most times I vote with my beliefs, but sometimes I could be swayed by the Democrats to vote with my heart. And the times that I've been swayed to vote with my heart has always come back to bite me. But but it has allowed me to get some good sleep in terms of knowing that, you know, marginalized folks are getting at least a shot, right? And so one of the things that I applauded about the Biden administration, shout out to former President Biden and everything that he's going through right now, hopefully a speedy recovery for him, is that he championed cancer. Like, I've had relatives that have passed away from cancer, right? And so one of his things was like, yo, he wanted to eradicate cancer writ large, right? And so to see the irony of him suffering from prostate cancer or whatever, given the fact that, you know, he wanted to do everything he can to eradicate all types of cancer, is kind of is wild to me. Plus, you know, when you have all of these slashes by Doge or whatever that are putting like critical instances of trials that can help us to find cures for cancer, and we're not putting them at risk from major institutions, bro. It's like, what are we doing?
I mean, I don't know what the role of government is if it's not these things, right? I think I believe that government is supposed to be slow. It's supposed to be methodical, because it tackles the issues that the private sector can't tackle, right? And so I don't believe that there's the pharmaceutical company has proven to us that when they have a cure for things, then they price gouge or or they take, you know what I mean? So like, how do we invest in things that are better for this country if not through government? And I don't know how that gets done. And I think that's a real problem, right? And that's this budget continues to cut those things that I think are vital and that no one else is going to invest in if the government doesn't.
Yeah. So I guess the last thing to kind of close this out, man, is that there is a I think they're calling it the HASA report. It's a report coming out of the HSS department. RFK Jr. Put out a report that he probably could have put out the first day that he got there, in terms of just like food and like the additives and like all of the things that are just unhealthy, the preservatives and like all the things that are just unhealthy to the American people in terms of the food that we consume. I spent some time in the UK, and so I was able to kind of do some test comparisons in terms of like, just for example, yogurt, right? And so there are some like red dye. There's some ingredients that are in food here that's not in food there, and the thought is like, oh, we'll put these ingredients in because it tastes better or whatever, even though it's like outrageously unhealthy for you, and it's not a better taste. Is what I'm saying, is that like, I've tasted healthier food in other countries, and it's been better tasting, and so that's no longer an excuse.
But I don't buy it's about better taste, right? Like, I don't think private companies do anything. It's not about better taste. It's about more sales, right? Or cheaper costs, right?
Cheaper
and
costs
so
to preserve it longer.
Right. And cheaper costs to preserve it longer. The whole reason why we use, we don't use sugar and they use, high fructose corn syrup, because it's cheaper with the high fructose corn syrup, right? And so like, this is about like the very industry that they're trying to cut the FDA and oversight over what private companies do are the folks who have to protect us from things like red dye and all these different additives. And so like, it don't make sense. Like, you say one thing and you do something different, and they don't make cognitive sense to me, because the people who are supposed to protect us from those things are the people that they're cutting.
100%. So, bro, I'm gonna roll you into your final thought so you can get your weekend started. I know you're getting on the grill or something.
Yeah. Final thought: just let's go Knicks. And my Mets. Oh man, y'all need to get your stuff together. I can't. It's too early in the season for me to have this many ulcers. We need to get our stuff together. So all of the orange and blue this weekend better come through for me, because I don't want to see you next week in pain.
Yeah. My final thought is gonna go my final thought is going to higher ed folks, right? So like higher ed folks, professors, folks that are on the teaching scene. Shout out to you guys because it's hard work planning for adults in the study of andragogy, which is adult learning. And so I just want to give a shout out to you all for all the work that you do on the higher ed scene. Shout out. All right. So we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully we'll get this router to Graham and we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Please donate to G's Wi-Fi.